if you watch last season's Europa League semi-final, Man United versus Sevilla, at that stage in the season, we all concluded Man United won basically because of fatigue. The team was tired after 80 minutes. The bench was no good. So Ole had to hope and pray that the guys on the pitch will see the game off until maybe extra time. And they ended up losing it.
Yeah.
Any forward-thinking club will invest in the transfer window and make sure that this thing doesn't happen again. Right. That's what you do. I don't necessarily agree with Coach when he says, look, when you are going into a final game, you put your best foot forward, period.
Right.
You can't, of course, you have to anticipate some things, but you give yourself the best possible chance to win. And the best possible chance to win is to put your best foot forward.
So,
why I agree,
just before you continue, in recent times, where have we had Pogba play?
Yes, that's what I'm coming to explain. Where I agree with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in playing Pogba in midfield. Yeah. And I was speaking to Nathan before the game, and I was telling him I'm hoping and praying Pogba plays midfield. Let me explain why. When McTominay and Fred play in the midfield, United don't have a grip on it. United usually flourish when McTominay and Fred play in midfield, when teams are coming at them. Because these guys are able to break up play and quickly distribute to the attacking players. They don't have to dictate the tempo of the game. When you are playing a team like Villarreal, with a midfield like what they have, a team like Sevilla, a team like Sociedad, these Spanish teams who love to possess the ball and handle it, you don't want to concede a midfield to them. Right. So what do? You play Pogba there with proper shielding, and Pogba will control the game for you. And Man U had the game on their palms. As coach is saying, Villarreal couldn't score a goal unless a set piece. And then they scored. And United came back. They barely got upfield.
One shot on target.
And look, when you even watch their counter-attacking opportunities, there was one key moment where Barca had the ball, was progressing. I think Moreno was following him. As soon as Moreno crossed the center line, he fell back and allowed Barca to go. And that is instruction. Yeah. Because Unai Emery knew that if they had gone forward and they had lost possession, Man United
would immediately find space.
So their job was to make sure that they had more numbers behind the ball to be able to prevent United from getting a counter-attack. And that's what I'm saying. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that aspect did perfectly well, because had Fred and McTominay played, it would have been an end-to-end game. And games like that, you don't know how they will go. Right. So control the game and make sure it goes in your favor. That's where he did well. What I'm saying is that preparing for a season, you've had, since January 2018, you assessed a team, ended a team halfway through the season, brought in signings. It was a poor transfer window. By selling your best goal-scoring option, trusting 3 players, coming out to say you trusted Lingard, Martial, Rashford. Only 6 months later, for you to go and bring in Igalo as a panic buy. And then 6 months later, at the end of the season, you wait till the last day and bring in Cavani, who has hardly played enough matches this season. Thankfully for you, Cavani is fit at the end of the season, is able to play a final. But you look at the bench, and that's why, if you remember, last season by this point, I kept on telling you, when Van de Beek came, I said on this program, probably one of the most useless signings Man United has made.
He's been the flop of the season.
Because if you have £40 million to spend, you spend it on areas where you don't have cover.
Exactly.
I told you that the only areas Van de Beek can play is substitute to Pogba and substitute to Bruno. If you have Bruno and Pogba in your team and either one of them gets injured, either one of them can fix in for somebody, and then Fred or McTominay comes in to cover. So that's not a pressing need. You had £50 million to spend, and you throw it on Dan James. And that one too, I told you guys, doesn't make sense, because you cannot pick somebody from Swansea City and come and put him in a Man United team and be happy about it. Things don't work like that. A championship team has a championship bench. It cuts across. Look at Liverpool. Last season, when they won the Premier League title, or 2 seasons ago, when they won the Champions League, think about it. They lost Mane, they lost Salah. They beat Barcelona by 4-0 without those players because they had a bench. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Manchester City this season have had the luxury of resting their entire starting 11 and still beat teams week in, week out because they have a bench. That's how you prepare. You don't prepare for a season with a starting 11, especially when it's already happened to you before last season. That's why I made reference to the last season's Europa League semi-final. It happened for everybody to see that Man United had a starting 11. Even at the post-COVID, if you watch Man United's games, it was a certain 11 that Ole was playing.
13 players.
13 players.
Only 13
if you
players.
take one out, everything changed. So what do you do in that transfer window?
Fix it.
You fix it. You don't let that problem come and resurface in the final.
Here's my question for you.
That is where it went
Here's
wrong.
my question for you, too. Do you genuinely think that with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if they give him all the materials that he needs, he can beat Pep Guardiola to a Premier League title? He can win the UEFA Champions League or the Europa League?
Look, I'm going to be very honest with you. Winning a league is different from winning a cup. Winning a league requires consistency.
Yes.
That is why when Man United went on top, I told you United cannot win this league.
Correct.
Because they can't be consistent. Man United can catch Man City and beat them, and United fans will be excited, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Because they don't. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't have that. He doesn't have
Can't put together a run.
He cannot put together a consistent run enough to win a Premier League title. And you see, you can say all you want to say, but you can't lie to yourself. You look at Klopp, you look at Chelsea this season. And I was telling you before we came on set, I don't call it progress. Because you look at your closest title rivals in Man City who were way above you. They won it easily.
Yeah.
Chelsea were how many points, or Liverpool in 69 points, were just 5 points behind Man U. But Liverpool had a crisis season. They were so poor.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, they were just 5 points behind Man U. They buy one player, they are overtaking Man U next season. It's just one player.
That's true.
And they've signed that guy in Konate. That's how difficult it is to maintain your status or even improve in this modern day football. And with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's very disappointing because I was watching the Europa League final and you are asking yourself, you can just see it's happening all over again. Even some of the reactionary changes that Unai Emery made. When United took the lead and they began to stamp their authority on the game, what did he do? Took out Barca, brought in Coquelin to shore up the midfield. If United had a proper bench, he could easily have introduced somebody else to come and match those numbers. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knew it was his own fault that his bench was made up of Daniel James, Tuanzebe, Mata, who is old and gone.